Are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah, this is KGB tactics. KGB 101. Kill or eliminate your opponent. And if you do take his life, take his body, take away the memorial, take away the ability for for him to become a martyr. Let me tell you all about what's happening right now, unbelievably, around the world. Let's compare it to what's going on in America. Here's what we know for sure. I don't know, guys, have you ever taken a good look at the banks today? This is dangerous. And on the surface, everything seems fine, but there's a whole lot more going on underneath. It's like looking under the hood of a car and finding a mess of broken wires and parts. The parts are the loans for homes and cars and the credit cards with high interest rates. They're hitting record highs even. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Why risk your money for a tiny 5% return when things are so shaky? This is where Noble Gold comes in. At www.pastorpaulgold.com. They're like that friend who knows all about keeping money safe. They suggest gold and silver. Those are oldies but goodies in the financial world. And gold is a biblical currency. Plus, if you qualify for a gold or silver or IRA or roll over that 401k, they'll give you this 1/4 of an ounce of gold standard coin, 1/4 of an ounce gold standard coin. They'll give it to you for free. So that's pretty cool. So check it out. Go to pastorpaulgold.com or pick up the phone and call them at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, and tell them that Pastor Paul Begley sent you. All right? Okay, so now here's some of the things going on. I know this is stunning. But what are you going to do? Okay? What are you going to do? Hang on just a second. Yeah, I put the wrong banner up there, didn't I? All right, I'll change it. Sorry about that. Oh, I'll get it together eventually. Maybe. Here he goes. There it is. PastorPaulGold.com. Sorry about that other one. PastorPaulGold.com. And you can call him at 877-646-5347. Okay. Now, it is very much like a KGB tactics, to be very honest with you. The Alexey Navalny, Navalny, there I go, Navalny, Alexei Navalny, who was the opposition to Putin. He was raising up among the people. He had a huge following. He was a populist who believed that, we shouldn't have a dictator running the country, that the nation, if it was going to be a democracy of some sort, the people should have a fair opportunity to choose their leader. They should not be manipulated constantly by the same guy and again and again and again with the corrupt government that he was running. So Navalny was rising in the polls. As a matter of fact, he would have won a fair election probably over Putin. But Putin arrested him, beat him up. Basically, they had him beat up, and then they imprisoned him, and then they let him out. They thought after 9 months of prison, maybe he would get the idea to drop out of the contention, but he didn't. So then they poisoned him, and he almost died, and they had to send him off to a German hospital where he barely survived. And then he decided he was going back to Russia, and Russia told him, if you come back, we're going to arrest you. We're going to throw you in prison. He went back anyway because he believed the Russian people deserved to have a government that was not run by a dictator who was totally corrupt. And he went back to Russia, and he was arrested and put on a quick trial and sentenced to 19 years in prison. And then they sent him to Siberia, to the coldest and oldest and most hostile prison in all of Russia. And yesterday, he died. He's 47 years old. They said he went out for a walk. They took him out for a walk. When he came back, he fell dead. Now, his widow was in Germany at the Munich gathering of NATO nations when she was told her husband was dead. Of course, the reaction by all of NATO was, here we go, this guy doesn't care. He'll do anything. It doesn't matter. And my thing is, no, he's doing exactly what the KGB does. He's an old KGB agent, and he runs his nation just like it's the KGB. His tactics are predictable. He'll invade countries. He'll drop bombs on cities. He'll imprison or assassinate any rival. He does not care. And now he goes ahead and does this. And he even timed this one. They timed the death of Navalny for just during the time of this gathering in Munich. Now, let me tell you what else is happening. Now, his widow trying to get his body, and his body disappeared. According to reports, the death of the Russian opposition leader, Alexey Navalny, has been confirmed. He is dead by his team and also by the Kremlin spokesperson. But Navalny died at 2:17 p.m. yesterday afternoon, February 16th, according to the notice given to his mother. Spokesperson Kyra Yamish wrote on X on Saturday this morning in the first confirmation from Navalny's allies. Yarmish cited an employee of the Polar Wolf Arctic Colony prison where the 47-year-old was serving a 19-year sentence as saying his body was picked up by investigators from Russia's investigative committee and now is in the town of Selkard. We demand, she said, that Alexei Navalny's body be handed over to his family immediately, she said. But the town is near the prison complex where the investigators are now conducting research on the body. In a subsequent update, Yarmish said that Navalny's lawyer had been informed that the cause of death has still not been determined. So the reason they didn't give his body back is they want to make sure they are the one that explains how he died. They don't want another coroner or medical examiner find out probably really how he died. A second examination now has been ordered by Navalny's body, of his body, has been made. The results allegedly will be available next week, according to Yarmish. It's obvious that they're lying and doing everything they can to avoid handing over his body. Ivan Danov, the director of Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation, wrote on X that Navalny's mother had been told by prison officials that her son had perished due to sudden death syndrome that we're hearing a lot about, of course, since the pandemic. Sudden death syndrome. When she arrived at the prison this morning with one of Navalny's lawyers, they told her he died of sudden death syndrome. The lawyer and Navalny's mother went to the local morgue in Selkard today, but it was closed. And Navalny's body was not where the prison authorities said it would be kept, in the prison morgue. It was gone. So, in an update, Yarmish said the authorities will not hand over Navalny's body to his relatives until they have finished their investigation and it is completed. She subsequently added, only an hour ago, the lawyers were informed that the investigation had been concluded and that something criminal had not been established. They literally are lying every time they speak, driving us around town and around the cities and in circles, covering their tracks. Russian authorities have said that Navalny fell unconscious and died after a short walk at the prison. He died of sudden death syndrome. That's what they're saying. Okay, but they've done one autopsy, and now they're saying they're going to do another autopsy, and they're going to continue the investigation of his death. They will not turn the body over to his mother or his wife and family. She said, we lost our leader, but we didn't lose our ideals, our beliefs, Yarmash told the media, speaking from an undisclosed location. Yarmash, who had worked with Navalny for over a decade, said he represented hope that Russia will be a proper democratic country with fair elections, with an independent court and free press, peaceful and a wealthy, prosperous nation. That was their hope when the wall fell in 1991, I believe it was, or no, 1989. Of course, everyone is devastated, she said. Alexei was a person who resembled all the ideals and who was fighting for them, for the Russian people. So I'm sure that his legacy won't die with him, and people will return to these ideals. No, they're going to be a massive protest. You watch. There will be a massive protest against Putin and the Kremlin. And they will want to take Putin out of power, like they did Boris Yeltsin. I remember watching that. But Putin doesn't play like Boris Yeltsin. Boris Yeltsin caved and did a deal and left and let Vladimir Putin take over. I'm telling you, Putin won't go out like that. He won't go out like that. He'll drop nukes on people. He'll cremate the body before he'll do whatever he needs to do. He'll shoot people down in the streets. He'll do whatever he needs to do to stay in power. Because we're looking at a biblical situation here. When we talk about Russia's role in Gog and Magog, when we start talking about Ezekiel 38, you got to remember what the Lord said about that. God said that he was against you, O Gog, and he put that hook in the jaw. Well, of course, everyone is devastated. Alexei was a person who resembled everything that we believe in. She said the team is holding Vladimir Putin personally responsible for Navalny's murder. She did not provide evidence, but she pointed to the incident in 2020 when Navalny survived what Western doctors said was nerve agent poisoning on his life. Putin denies at that time that Russia's state had tried to kill Navalny, saying it would have finished the job if they wanted to eliminate him. So, I mean, that was Putin's answer. We didn't do it, he's saying, because if we did it, we would have finished the job. Well, I guess now he's finished the job. We knew that there was a risk. Alexei knew it very well. Yesterday, they murdered him, and they planned to do it 3 years ago. They finally did it. And they chose the time when NATO was gathered in Germany, in Munich. She called on all Western leaders to put as much pressure on Putin as possible to seek justice in response to her husband Navalny's death and to not negotiate with Putin. Russian police have Russian police have detained more than 170 people across the country at memorials. Hang on one second. 170 people across the country at memorials and rallies that went on yesterday. They've already arrested 170 people who were trying to have a memorial services and have peaceful protesting. And according to the reports, 99 of the people who they arrested were taken into custody in St. Petersburg alone, just in that one town. Strict anti-dissident laws banned all protesting now in Russia. And pro-Navalny's rallies have been particularly hit by authorities in the past. World leaders have condemned the death of Russian President Vladimir Putin's fierce rival, Alexey Navalny. The United States President Joe Biden has said, quote, Putin is responsible for Navalny's death, while European Council President Charles Michel has said that the European Union holds the Russian regime solely responsible for this tragic death. So, okay, Putin said if we wanted to do it, we would get it done. Now, Putin, I guarantee you, they still got his body, folks. I guarantee you that they're going to try to figure out every way possible to change the narrative, okay? To change the narrative and to say that he died of sudden death syndrome or that he had a bad heart, he had bad valves in his heart and he had a heart attack or whatever they're going to say. And when they do give the body back, they're going to, whatever they'll do to the body, they're going to cover up how he really died. He may have died of strangulation. He may have died of suffocation, which is what I think he probably died of suffocation, and then they'll say it was a heart attack. But they might have drowned him. Okay, there's a lot of ways they could have done it, but good medical examiners will be able to find out that cause. One thing's for sure, or they may just cremate his body and never give the people a chance to even know, and to leave it a mystery. I know one thing: once they give his body back to the family, once they do this, folks, I know it's illegal to protest in Russia now. Putin took that right away. Protesting and is no longer, although that's how Putin came into power. It was during a massive protest that Yeltsin succumbed and turned over the country to Putin. Putin knows that he cannot let it happen. They will, though, rally. There will be a massive rally. But there will also be, you will see the hard, strong hand, the iron fist of Vladimir Putin. They will arrest people. They will drag them off. They will beat them down. They will use tear gas. They'll use water cannons. They'll do live bullets. They'll do everything and anything they can to strike fear into the heart of the Russian people. Meanwhile, the Russians are suffering greatly as their husbands and sons have been sent off to a horrific war with Ukraine, where it's reported over 300,000 Russians have died, and unbelievable numbers of Ukrainians. I remember how people said that Putin was a wonderful guy and that he was just trying to stop the New World Order, and that he was just trying to find the undisclosed laboratories. That's not what this man's about, folks. He's about power. He's already said he wants to reestablish Mother Russia. He believes he's the reincarnation of Peter the Great. And he said he wants to be the leader of the New World Order. Now, he's not the only one. I'm not going to say he's the only one, because he's not. Because Joe Biden said the same thing, that he wants to be the leader of a New World Order. And President Xi has said the same thing, that he and China should be the leaders of a New World Order. And of course, the radical Islamist regime of Iran believe they should be, under Sharia law, a new order. So the world right now has about 4 different factions that are pulling and fighting and searching. You got the global elitist, the secret societies. If you get my book, Revelation 9/11, you'll find out I cover every secret society there is, who they are, how they were birthed, and what they're about, and how they are linked in the formation and the connection with the Illuminati, the global elitist, and the New World Order. So trust me, I know all about this. It's in my book. But it's not the only group that's trying to take over and have world dominance. So as we watch mankind crumble before our eyes, as we watch the butchering and the murdering and the evil all over the planet, it's not just Putin. It's all over the planet. And it's different. As I said, 4 different factions. The global elitists, the Russians want to be in control, the Chinese want to be in control. Okay? Or the radical Islamists. You have 4 different factions. And 3 of them have formed an axis of evil. And then throw in little North Korea's Kim Jong-un, and you have a recipe for a global World War III. My question I have is Vladimir Putin and the death and the denying of the body of Navalny. Is this the start of World War III? Who's in the coffin? It's coming.